recording. So when we get the recording going, and it's okay, I'd rather you leave your mic on as long as there's nobody going to disturb you.
อ๋อ
Well, leave it on. Leave it on.
Okay.
Because at some point you're going to be describing what you're seeing, and it won't be on Earth. So, and the reason for that is, I will assist you with masterful friends from out of town to begin to see what you need to see. But then, what really happened to you, the details, you'll be in a safe enough place to be able to see it and bring it conscious. And then it's just a memory. And it's not so frightening that it can't distort your decisions and things like that. This is very important. It's subtle, but people get it on their own experience, right? They need to have their own experience. That's where wisdom comes from. That's where enlightenment comes from. It doesn't come from belief or faith at all. It has to come from experience. That changes people. Changed me. Still changing me. Let's see. 1 second. Yeah, I just
รอ
like
สักครู่นะคะ
just like to close the office door behind me. You can't see it because I have the image from the Savior's Agenda book on here, but once we start the recording, this becomes telepathic, and you know what that means now. Yeah, we're just really communicating without negative nature. Shantiel and Tonal Tial, Dantiam and Lamtiam are couples, two couples, that are masterful beings. They happen to be Galactic Alliance personnel as well. They're not from Earth or from other planets. They're like a couple, like married, and they work very well together. They don't grow up with subconscious minds or implants. So when I say they're very bright and brilliant, they are. Very intelligent, very capable. They don't have negative influences interfering with what they do. So Dantiam and Lamtiam are standing behind you. As soon as we start recording, they'll appear there. You can't see them with physical eyes, but you can see them with you. The Atma can see them. The spherical being you are that's running that body through the pineal gland can see them. I think it's good because this is one-on-one and special. As far as I'm concerned, this is special work. I want to describe briefly what they look like, just to assist a little bit. They are from beyond the Pleiades and Galactic Alliance personnel. He's 35 to 38 years old in appearance, somewhere around Shantial's age in Earth years, in appearance. She's 35 to 38 years old in appearance, somewhere around Tonal Tial's age in Earth years. He has golden collar eyes, not brown, and brown hair, and she has ruby red eyes that are slightly larger than Earth human eyes, and yellow red hair. It's very strange. It's yellow, but it's reddish. Reddish hue to it, like you can almost see around the outer edges of the hair. It's quite interesting. They're very experienced, well-trained technicians among other beneficial disciplines that remove what are called secondary implants, so the real person, the Atma, can begin to gain mastery over what is called the primary implant. You've already done that. So when you get fear of the present and future, right now, not tomorrow, not next year, not 10 years from now, as an Atma, you're already capable of having mastery over that primary nonsense. It's still there, but it's conscious. When we go through this journey, it becomes a conscious memory. And then you have the choice, because the secondary implants are out of the way, you have the choice to turn it off when it comes up and you start feeling afraid of the present and future. All you have to do is just ignore it. Look at something beautiful outside, at a sunset. Look at a bird or a cat or a smile, and just send the hue at the fear, wherever you perceive it's coming from, around you, inside your heart, and it'll shut it off because it's conscious now, and you have that volitional control. So that's those guys. Shantial and Tonaltial are behind me, and another couple is behind Pari. They're very much the same kind of highly advanced, qualified people. And what, no camera with you, huh, Pari? That's all right. The reason they're there in a energy form, it's not DNA or molecules, they're there to keep the primary implant turned off so you can easily and comfortably go on the journey. And then, in the right situation, at the right moment, be able to see into what it was that happened to you, that put you on this earth with no memory, because there was no God involved or God's will in doing that. I know everybody tells themselves that to feel better, because on earth they don't yet have another choice. So all they have is belief from thousands of years ago, and that's all they have. Unfortunately, when people believe something, even sincerely, but they have no real direct experience about it, didn't go back down the time track to see what really happened, didn't work with master teachers in present time to know what's real and what isn't. When they believe something like that, they stuck. Their whole life they don't change, because they figure they're either already saved or they're going to some heaven. So why should they change? They want to change, but they're afraid to. Just like I was at one time, or Pari, or you. Now we know better. We don't have to be afraid to change. What we should be afraid of is staying the same and not changing, because that's the trap. That's what keeps everybody bound to the earth. We're supposed to be caretakers and custodians, conscious beings, running nature, looking after the higher life forms, sea and land life. We're supposed to be caring for this planet, bringing it up in evolution. Atmas that are running a cow or a dog or a horse or a bird, these are sentient beings. They're Atmas. They're trying to learn how to work with higher forms. We're supposed to be doing that. The people on Earth are not doing that. It's not a normal planet. So the few of us have to start somewhere. And we start with people from outside of Earth that are not few in number. They're quite vast. So we start to align ourselves with beings who can really change things, that are not raised to be unconscious and numb to everything they once knew. So they are hovering behind you, but also near the ceiling where you are. There are two spherical beings. You know what the Atma looks like. You look the same. You're hovering between them. They're showing you these bodies I described, made of energy, look well dressed, perfectly human, about 35, 38, something like that. They're actually many hundreds of years old in terms of Earth people. I would say by the time they're 10, they have at least the equivalent of 10 PhDs to a person on Earth in many advanced fields. Every one of them can pilot a ship. They're all cross-trained. Makes perfect sense. You have a captain, you have a technician, a teleportation technician, you have all these people doing different jobs, but they're all cross-trained. Any one of them could take over the job of another, at least temporarily. And they travel with master teachers, at least one, when they go to dangerous areas like the solar system where planet Earth is, because that's a dangerous place. Just look at the Earth and its people. That's a dangerous place. Can't rely on it. Can't trust it. People act in fear. So yeah, they have to be very well trained and very well capable of visiting Earth or walking down the street where you would not know they're there. Or if you saw them, you wouldn't know them from other people. And they're very, very good at this. They don't get caught. Let's put it that way. When you're hovering near the ceiling, all you're doing is daydreaming, looking down at your body. Same thing you do when you imagine going to the store or the beach or downtown or anywhere, you first visualize what it looks like where you're going, and then your body gets in a car and goes there, bike or walking or whatever. And people on Earth are not brought up to understand this, or where imagination comes from, which is really the ability to see into the multidimensional universe. While you're walking down the street, sitting in a restaurant, you're really out of the body running it. And if you know that more and more, you can see things that aren't even on Earth. Things in your past, in your ancient past. Things in your present, out beyond the stars, and in higher dimensions. And we begin to be multidimensional in our consciousness. We start to think outside the box we weren't trained to do. We start to look beyond Earth for the greater God. You know, the greater God people pray to, but they're too afraid to even, they think it's just about Earth, and some supreme being that's in some heaven, but doesn't involve all those other billions of galaxies and dimensions. People on Earth don't want to see that, because then they would have to open their consciousness to the real source energy. And they'd have to wake up, and they'd have to be responsible for what they're doing, and then they would have to change. Primary implant terrifies people from making change. They don't even know it's there. So this work is quite beyond unique, and it's been brought to this world with the help of many numbers of masterful beings to help to make a change that otherwise could not be done for people on Earth. They're too far unconscious to turn another direction and save themselves from destroying themselves. So it has to come from outside Earth, from the greater God they pray to, without understanding or knowing it at all. Responsible beings, those that, let's say, grow up, become masterful people who work in co-creative harmony with Source itself. Not because they believe in it, because they've stepped beyond faith and belief into direct knowing. Direct knowing is a natural state of every Atma. We just know. We always have. If people are afraid to know, then they say, I don't know. I can't do this. I can't see that. I wasn't taught this, and so forth and so on. Those are just excuses from being responsible beings. People from other worlds don't come to Earth with dead cows and chickens on board to eat along the way. They don't raise them, they don't eat them. The only reason I'm bringing this up is not to tell anybody to be a vegetarian. I only do that when I'm asked, but you already know what I am, how I am. I don't say everybody has to do it. When you're working with the hue, when we're working with the hue, it just drops away at some point. We start finding the way to live in higher energy. And this comes about naturally. This can't be forced. No one should try to force it. It just drops away when a person's ready. Because you and me and Pari and others were like this. Well known in these areas of health and nutrition, longevity, DNA that doesn't shrink, the telomeres when the cells divide. This is old stuff for us. It's not new. It's not in our future. It was in our past. And it should be available to us now. But here's the problem with people on Earth. Cures for diseases don't make money. Pretty simple. They don't. So they're suppressed. Many people work in many fields all over the earth in a system that supports addressing symptoms but not cures. This is not normal. It's not right. But it's the way things are until they're changed. Cures for diseases are not new. They're ancient. They're just not allowed on Earth quite yet. So when we go out among the stars, it's good to know what you can be aware of out there that you can bring back to Earth. Because you have a right. We have a right to wake up and be a co-creator. It's our destiny anyway. So I'm going to send out the hues, and I'm going to start from very high tone and bring it down to Earth, right to where we are. With Dantian and Lamtian right behind you. The other master teachers, they're waiting in space for us. This will not take place in orbit like secondary implants. This takes place, well, it can take place in a number of places, but for convenience, it takes place aboard the Emerald Star cruiser, stationed in the ice rings, 1.5 miles thick, that circle the planet Saturn, big gas giant. People on Earth and scientists know now from satellites it's made of water, frozen water. How the heck does 1.5 miles thick rings circle a big gas giant, thousands of times bigger than Earth, and be out in space circling it? Water. Quite a mystery, eh? Pretty neat. But that's what they are. So this Emerald Star cruiser, 1 mile long, is stationed there. It's perfectly safe, has an electromagnetic or gravitational field, anti-gravitic field around it, as they call it. And nothing can hit it or bump into it. They're repelled away. And they can stay there unseen and undetected by ships from Earth or radar or anything like that. And for them, that's easy stuff. All they have to do, when you have what's called an anti-gravitic drive system, you're actually channeling the omnipresent you from space through your engines, through your device. And it sets up a field of energy, made of energy that is not nuclear atomic. It cannot be penetrated or blasted or broken. People on Earth do not understand this yet. So when we go there, we'll be going inside. And for now, I'll begin those tones. I'm in the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. I'm in the Source. I'm visiting Agam Purusha. I'm with Satnam, by a fountain. All places at the same moment, which we're capable of doing once we get back to normal a little more. And we're bringing this energy down through those higher worlds where no negative nature exists. And we're bringing it through the void, down into the etheric plane where you have a body you're running, much more evolved than this one. Been there a long time, that body. A mental body, etheric, astral, and causal, right here. Mental, etheric, mental, causal, astral, and physical. So I started the tones from upward down. So I got my directions backwards for a moment. Isn't that interesting? So I'll continue these tones to bring an energy down, which is going through Turelian, setting up a field of energy for our little journey from out in space to the ice rings of the planet Saturn. And you find yourself perfectly safe. The body in the trance state called sleep. This begins when you close your eyes, shuts off that part of the brain, keeps the body running on automatic. But you're not home. Doesn't mean you can't hear things or feel things around you. That's for security and safety reasons. But actually the body's asleep just like you put it asleep every night. The difference is the way this energy connects to you telepathically to help you be conscious and stay alert for the journey as the Atma, as the spherical being you are. We find ourselves in space in a circle around Ambassador Turelian. Turelian's ageless. I don't even know how old he is. They immortalized their physical bodies over 1 billion Earth years ago. Not 1 million, not 100 million, 1 billion. And they've been that evolved as a human prototype for us. The form they had, 12-stranded DNA. So he's showing you an 18-foot tall body. The Say-Rays were 18 to 25 feet tall. They were not from a planet in our galaxy originally. Human beings were not originally from our galaxy either. So where'd they all come from, all these races? Asian, black hair, oval eyes, slanted eyes, darker skin like African Americans, Caucasian, some people call tall Nordics, or tall whites, which is a little more alien looking human, or little gray guys, reptilian, mantis, all these different races, 80 of them that come here. Most of those don't scare people too much, even if they're kind, good beings. Etin Din would scare the heck out of people. Hovering up in front of them, little dren bodies 3 feet long with their tail glowing. You can imagine what people on Earth would do with that one. These are real beings. These are beings that are wondrous, loving, kind, incredibly intelligent, masterful beings. They're not even human. But they do have Say-Rays DNA in them too. Turellian and his people saw to that a long time ago. So all the human races have Say-Rays DNA in them. Which makes them bodies and nervous systems capable of being run by Atmas. And when a being's awake, they're a conscious Atma running a body, not the other way around. So we're in a circle. Pari's a little further to my left. I'm 2/3 of the way out, away from Earth. Pelham's to my right. Ramu is further to Pari's left, towards the Earth. You are standing just to my left side. And this couple, Don Tam and Lam Tam, are standing there. And above all three of these perfect physical forms, because you're a very beautiful woman, about 36, just like he's perfectly handsome, she's perfectly beautiful. These are prototypes. That's how we show ourselves to each other. It's based on the image of Satnam, basically. Way back, before we started playing in the lower worlds of time and space. But it isn't a physical body. The one you have up here in space looks that way, dressed nicely, but it's not. It's not DNA, it's not atoms, it's not molecules. When the primary implant is shut off, you can see and remember and do this with them as well as they can. You can do what Turellian shows. It's not a real physical body. It is an energy form. If he walked around on Earth, that would cause real problems. 18-foot tall guy walking on the lawn of the White House, in Washington, D.C., no. People are not prepared for such beings. So they're going to have to be brought up to that point. The Say-Rays will not step foot on Earth until Earth is transformed. That means the Galactic Alliance steps foot on Earth first. So it's quite a privilege to work with such beings. The teachers of the Say-Rays are the silent mentors themselves. So here he is standing in his space with the 2 thumbs up, right? Golden glow around him. It's a little brighter golden white light than space all around us out here. Appears like a golden white light. Very fine. Little planets and moons and suns and stars and galaxies float in this vast, vast field of energy that has no nucleus, no atoms, no radioactivity, no protons and neutrons and electrons and atoms. It's the energy behind all things it supports. And we are, as individual beings, a drop of that ocean. Exactly the same as it. Cannot tell us the difference apart between what we are and the white core and this you in space. The difference around Turellian's thumbs and hands is it's coming from someone high up in space standing there through a vortex above him. And Satnam started to come on these journeys. I still don't know why. Well, I do. It has to do with the Hue expansion ray. The consciousness that's changed up in the upper worlds that has been tested and found what is called true, necessary, and kind. So it's being implemented for the first time in the lower worlds. Basically, The old failed experiment of good and evil, which the hue supports without bias or prejudice, is changing. It has to be replaced by something that actually works, because the old failed experiment of good and evil is not getting anybody out of the lower worlds and back home where they should be going to give themselves to the source and co-create new ways of doing things from all their experience. So you see, that's a problem when people in the lower worlds don't return. It's kind of like what people call God is trapped in its own making and cannot evolve further into something better. So we become boots on the ground. We start this process and it moves through us to change unexpectedly entire worlds, whole dimensions. Not destroy them. Wake them up. Remove the fear. End subconscious minds altogether. That's another process beyond secondary and primary implants. Subconscious mind involves every life you've ever lived that you don't remember on all the worlds over billions of years before you were ever implanted and caught. When you had a much higher form of human life than you have now. Which means something happened that put you on earth and deprived you and me and everyone else with knowing what we once knew well. That's just fear. Fear is artificial and implanted. It's not real. It is not a real human emotion at all. As an Atma, you have no negative nature whatsoever. Neither does Pari, neither do I. It is the energy field around us where we pick up these experiences and store them. Not in the Atma itself, because only constructive, positive things can be stored there. But it's in the field of energy around us, that circles around us, just like the toroidal field, zero-point energy, or electromagnetic field, circles around the outside of the Earth. From the South Pole in a big circle comes in the North Pole. When you're hovering there above this body form that looks to be 36, you can see the same kind of Atma hovering above Toroidal. And above that is this toroidal field, this electromagnetic field. It's a part of the hue, but it creates a form of flowing energy around the Atma, so it literally floats in an omnipresent field of energy, the hue. This has not changed ever. At the dinner hovering above Ambassador Trillian, eager to contribute their wisdom and brilliance to this telepathic communication we're having. Opelum is to my right, as I mentioned. If I didn't, I am now. Jan Tal is a master that's beginning to go on the journey. He's on the other side, away from me, opposite me. He teaches in the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. Trillian's hands brighten and you see a form. It looks like the transparent hull of a ship. It's just energy, but it's a higher, brighter form, a little bit higher and brighter than the hue that's in space. And the sound is different. It's making a high note of a flute sound. The sound around us is making a deep, soft, kind of a rumbling, humming sound like thunder without lightning. The sound the physical universe makes in all 144 parallel dimensions of the physical universe before we get to the astral plane. The sound in the astral plane in all those levels is like the crashing of a beautiful wave on a beach, that sound, constantly moving. The sound that's coming down through Sat Nam, below a vortex, hourglass-shaped, golden white light turning clockwise, and a blue-green light around it, is a doorway that was created when I was sending out the hues. Not just me alone. These beings were doing it with me. And so we're bringing an energy that has no negative nature, surrounding us with it. And then we're going to move through space in this energy hall of a spaceship. A circle of beings. And there are others I didn't describe. There are master teachers here too, making a circle of about 2 dozen. in this time. The light brightens around his hands, and you can see that this transparent golden white hull around us brightens. And the next moment, you find yourself in a blur across the solar system. We come to stop high above the planet Saturn, looking down on its ice rings. And from where we are, we can see there are chunks of ice, size of buildings or bigger, small ones in between, layers of it. And down under the surface layer is a mile-long cylindrical ship. It's called the Emerald Star Cruiser. It is one of the smaller ones. It's bigger than some that are 300, but the bigger ones are 10 miles long. They are designed to go through interdimensional doorways that are built into the fabric of space and all the dimensions. They know how to travel through these, at least in the 144 parallel dimensions of the physical universe. And when they do that, time and everything changes. So they just raise the molecular time rate of the hull, which is just increasing the charge coming from the hue. And they would literally disappear in front of us if they were getting ready to travel, because physical eyes of human beings would no longer be able to see them. They're in a higher parallel dimension. And then they dart wherever they're going, and then come out another opening somewhere else and come to their destination. In this way, they can cross vast areas of outer space in seconds or minutes or days, depending how far away it is. I know they can get from here in a day to another galaxy. The bigger ones, anyway. So this is the kind of technology that has been around for thousands, many hundreds of millions of years. Not new. And we're hovering above this in a group of beings looking down, observing this Emerald Star Cruiser. A couple of ships, scout ships, 30 feet in diameter. Semispheric pods on the bottom, glowing with a thin blue antigravitic light, are beginning to enter the central hull section. And you watch them brighten, and then they become transparent, and they pass right through the hull. Blue-gray metallic hull. Without any problem. And then the opening in that hull shows you that they're lowering their time rate inside, becoming solid and landing next to other craft on a huge hangar bay floor. And then that hull becomes solid again. There's no open launch bays on these ships. That wouldn't work for what they need to do. They need sealed ships from end to end. They have a bridge control on one end, another bridge control on the other end, that, for instance, you cannot see in the artistic image shown on the front cover of the Sayres Agenda book. Along the meridian of the central hull, there's every 6 feet, 12 feet is a horizontal, oval, convex, meaning curved outward, clear window, an observation portal. They're all the way down the length of the ship on each side. And then we find ourselves hovering where those two ships were in front of the central section of the hull. And then the whole group of us pass right through the hull, just like the ships did. The next thing you know, you're looking down at your bare feet, wiggling your bare toes in a nice uniform, nice clothes. It's not a Galactic Alliance uniform like the 300 or so people that are around us. And you're wiggling your toes in this plush blue carpet that's kind of luminous, and it feels soothing and cold, cooling up your legs. It's very, let's just say, charged with the hue itself. Sitting behind a blue glass round kind of oval table in two egg-shaped chairs that look like white curved eggs with blue cushions, there's a man and a woman. Their eyes are closed. Then you realize when you look to the man and woman standing beside you, they look identical. And when the beings sitting behind in those chairs open their eyes, the people beside you disappear. And you can see a spherical atma hovering above this man and woman, Dantium and Lamtium. And they're getting up and walking around this blue glass top table. and they're just extending a hand out. And all you do is touch it with your hand. Just a sign of respect, recognition. So they know you're there. Now you understand where they were when they showed up beside you in space by Earth. They didn't have to take a scout craft to Earth to do this. That's more of the secondary implant stuff that they do. But for primary implant, the scout ships don't have the technology or the means to show someone a primary implant review. That has to be done aboard a larger vessel. The technology's there, but it's not just the technology they have that makes this work. Because I want to show you something. When you look around, you're going to see different races, different humanoids, some snake-like skin, snake-like eyes, beautiful, handsome, not scaly and weird, not reptilian. And you're going to see people with purple hair and violet hair and red hair and green eyes and gold eyes and all over the place. Longer earlobes, all dressed in Galactic Alliance uniforms with that silver galaxy and that four-sided golden pyramid with a quartz cap. 3 blue stars in triangular formation. Because they come from 450 million spacefaring world races. All part of the Galactic Alliance. They do not have governments like people on Earth. You know that already. They don't use money. It's illegal. They would never do it. Nor do they desire it. They don't grow up competing for such things. They grow up wanting to do something new and innovative that will benefit all the people on all those worlds. You see, that's normal. That's just normal. Out here, you begin to realize just how abnormal and backward and misdirected people on Earth are. I have compassion for them. Frankly speaking, when I go to a restaurant and sit down, I have to listen to the conversations of these people. It's as superficial and inane and inept and silly as you can even imagine. They aren't talking about anything. I bring this up not to criticize or condemn anyone. No, I'm here to help. But they certainly are afraid to know who they are. If it can change for us, it can change for them. Pretty simple, straightforward. So you're looking at this plush blue carpet. Suddenly you find yourself moving right down through the floor. All of us together. And you are entering a chamber in the central section of the ship. It's just above the hangar bay. And it's a big round chamber. And in the center of it is a big pyramid, maybe 15 feet high. Golden-sided quartz cap sitting on the floor. It's a blue kind of transparent floor. And it has a certain charge to it. But you can see through the walls of this four-sided golden pyramid, and you see a fountain sitting in it. That's a statue of Satnam standing in it. This is fairly recent for all Galactic Alliance ships, because one day it just appeared there. They didn't put it there. So it's a device. It is a doorway. The 2 gold bracelets on his upper arms, his white tunic dress, his bare chest, his golden eyes, his bronze skin, looks to be about 36 or 38, from India. He's not from India. And that's not a physical body, that's a statue, it's a device. There's a white golden light coming down into it. And it's pulsing through the ship. It's really just coming from the hue in space that people use to power their anti-gravitic drives anyway. But this energy is also coming from above the void. This is new. This wasn't before. This is new in creation. To them now, this is like getting up in the morning and taking a bus ride. They know it's there. They don't have a problem with it, they're not afraid of it. It's there to help them do things that on their own, as Galactic Alliance personnel, scientists, they can't do on their own entirely. It has to come from what's changing in the upper realities above the void. or they won't have enough wisdom to carry it out. It's pretty simple. Then you find yourself moving up through the floor, this roof of this spherical chamber, and you're standing above the central meridian of this whole ship in a larger spherical chamber. This one is like 100 feet across, foot thick golden quartz glowing. You can see right down through it, the floor, and see the other half of this spherical chamber. There are foot-long quartz crystals, perfectly faceted to a point, all over the inner surface of the inside of this circle, pointing to a focus in what's called a dodecahedron chamber. You can look it up, what it looks like. So these multiple-sided little windows make up almost like a geodesic dome, but it's round, and it's sitting in the middle of this floor. There's a white leather-like chair sitting in the middle of it. And you can see that these crystals, when activated, point to that chair. And you are standing on this floor, and Dantam and Lamtam are beside you here. And they're out of their bodies again, standing beside you. Everybody can see them. Turelian's still standing up in the middle of this chamber, well, kind of off-center, just to the left of the dodecahedron chamber. And then there's a curved semicircular control console with different faceted, colored, multiple light-lit crystals. Some dome ones, some triangle ones, little faceted rubies and emeralds, colored things. And there's two technicians. They're wearing Galactic Alliance uniforms, and they're smiling at you. And they're welcoming you with their hand over their chest. And together they're waving their arm towards the left side of that chamber. Dantam and Lamtam are now, I'm in the chamber too, I'm standing beside Turelian, Pari's there too. And we're moving to the left side and walking you down, I'm right behind you. They're walking you down a set of quartz crystal clear type steps. They're like they kind of seal the energy in that chamber from a regular floor of the ship. And then you're coming up the back of it, and you see you are walking up behind this white chair, up a set of steps. And as you step out, you can see through these clear dodecahedron windows and see this couple standing behind this curved console. Turelian and me and Pari and others. Etten dinner there. Opelum, Ramu, and some other people. The commanders of the ship are there, including these two masterful people, Dantam and Lamtam. And they ask you to sit in this chair. So you do. And it's a physical looking form, you, but perfectly beautiful at 36. And it forms around this form that you're showing there. It's a chair that can form around energy. And you're a being hovering above that body. Dantam and Lamtam are standing behind the chair, and they're hovering above their bodies. And now I'm in the chamber off to the right side. And I'm hovering above the body I'm showing you, which looks to be about 36. And they're asking you to look at these windows. And as you do, they go opaque. They turn on like a computer screen. They're actually LCD type holographic projections all over the out of it. When you can look through the top windows and you can see, as this couple touch certain controls, these quartz crystals turn on glowing pale golden light. And then it focuses a halo of beautiful energy around your entire form and around the atma you are, hovering above the chair. So there's this higher energy concentrated around you. It's also coming from under the floor. You can see through the golden quartz floor. It's coming from the crystals below. It's focusing through the bottom of this chair. And they ask you, Dantam and Lamtam ask you to show you the most terrifying thing, the thing that bothers you the most, that you can't quite remember. You're safe here. There are no grays or reptilians in our solar system, and they cannot return. They're being transformed on their own worlds now as we speak. They were sent away more than 25 years ago from Earth in secret bases and all that. People in the UFO community do not yet know they are no longer here. No little grays abducting people, none of that has been going on for more than 25 years. The poles of the planet were stopped being flipped every 100,000. It already would have happened. In this chamber, you just know this stuff. Polar flips of Earth have been permanently ended by the silent mentors. And when you look out, hovering above near the ceiling by these crystals, is a man and a woman. They are silent mentors outside in the chamber. They have one who has long blonde hair and one has long green hair, the female. You can't see any facial features, but they're wearing a different colored robe. He's wearing blue, she's wearing green. Bare feet. Regular arms and fingers, but you can't see any face. It's all light, a white light. Above them is hovering a being, an Atma, 4 times bigger than us, twice as many layers of teardrops. And they have been sent by the top silent mentor to be part of observing this primary implant review. Don't ask me why. The silent mentors are beyond mysterious, unlimited freedom. They normally don't interact with us at all. But they are now, at least aboard the Emerald Star Cruiser. Normally, we would have to go on a long journey to the U Expansionary Academy to rub shoulders with them. And that's when we do that, because that's where it's set up to work best for us safely. So you're looking at these screens. You don't feel frightened, but there is a terror there you've not been able to look at, because what is there says will eat you, kill you, bite your arms off, chew you up, and spit you out, and throw you in fire if you ever remember this. So which means that something killed your body and then put a heavy magnetic field, electromagnetic field around you through which things could be implanted. Not in the Atma, because nothing negative can be put in the Atma itself. It's not made of matter. It's not even made of the lower universes. So tyrants have to do something else to try to trap a being by having it look through things subconsciously that keep it from knowing who and what it is, or else. What was done to people before they were born on Earth cannot be done to them again. These journeys are one way and permanent. There's no threat on the Earth in hidden labs or classified people anymore that can threaten you. That is over. The rest of the people on Earth need to recover awareness or wake up to this at some point, or they would destroy themselves, most certainly. Here, you can perceive a base inside Mount Shasta in Northern California. Built in 1908 by the Galactic Alliance, there are others on this planet. If they had not been here, World War II would have ended differently. If they had not been here, nuclear war would have already taken place. But they are here. They weren't motivated in 1908 to save the world, because there were no nuclear weapons here then. They were sent here to try to head people in a new direction. And it didn't really work too well, because the energy coming from above the void to us here was not yet in place to make these changes. Now they are. So you're sitting in a chair as a being, running a physical form that looks perfect, hovering above it, looking at what happened. And you're going to see the screens begin to show a planet and a ship heading towards a planet. Actual 3 ships. They're about 60 foot in diameter. They look like a scout ship, but twice as wide. Can you describe what the planet looks like? Try. Let yourself trust yourself. Trust yourself. You're safe.
It's kind of a colorful planet. there are many colors like blue and pink.
Mm-hmm. That's what I see as well. How big is it compared to Earth, do you think, this planet? Does it have any moons around it? Orbiting this planet?
Now I see one moon.
Okay.
It's kind of light color.
You'll notice one thing, I'll help you out here a little. These planets do not have polar ice caps.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Now look out in space from here. You're looking out an observation window above the lead craft. They're in a triangular formation. And you're looking out in space to see what kind of sun system these two planets, the planet and its moon, circle. What do you see?
Oh, it's a red big sun.
Look further. There's more than one. One bigger, slightly smaller one circles a bigger one.
A blue sun.
Yep. And further out, there's a smaller sun.
Light yellow sun.
Yeah. That's a trinary star system. It's not near Earth. It's in the Galactic Alliance system of worlds. On the other, pretty much on a little under half the galaxy. That's also where the reptilians and greys had tyrant world systems. That are no longer, there's no war in our galaxy. Doesn't matter what you hear on the internet. If there were, Earth people would have been wiped out first, just for sport. Nobody's ever threatened this Earth since World War II came to an end. No reptilians in ships have come here and bombed our cities or anything like that. Not a threat, not once. You'd think people on Earth would learn by now. The threat is on Earth, from Earth people, not from the stars. This is something we become very aware of when we're sitting in a chamber, sitting in a white leather-like chair, looking at a scene that was part of your past. The next thing you're going to see is these three ships splitting up, right?
Yeah.
And you're on the lead ship, you're going to head down into that planet. And then you're going to go over the surface of the planet and you're going to go to that light moon. It's a moon that has many waterfalls and water systems, practically covered with cloud cover, but much higher energy than, say, Venus, which is not what people think it is. And you're going to go down and land by a blue luminous lake. When this ship lands in a kind of a golden sandy, even the sand has to glow a little bit here. This is a normal world. It's charged with you. But there's no buildings or dome cities here. This is kept pristine and natural. There's no bases from the Galactic Alliance. It's kind of like a retreat planet. And obviously you must be going there for pleasure, but also you're a scientist, so you're going to do something on that planet. Do you know what it is? Trust yourself. You know what it is. You're you. What are you going there to do? Who are you?
I have two legs, but very small, very thin.
How
My
tall? How tall?
doesn't look like the human feet.
Okay, what do the feet look like? Describe them.
It's kind of
3. Yeah.
fingers.
Mm-hmm. What about the
And
face? What about the face and hair?
my skin is very pale
Okay.
with a big head,
Okay. Yeah.
very big 2 eyes.
What color are the eyes?
Ah, deep blue or black.
Deep blue, actually, not black, not gray.
And I like step down the ship and then look around to see.
Now
Look around.
the ship leaves you there
Yeah.
because you're going to spend some time there. You can see like a little, looks like a curved, like a little dome, like maybe a 2-bedroom place that's been built by a circle of trees. And you're going to want to go toward that because you're going to spend time monitoring the water, the air, and life that's here. It's rich with mammalian life. There's no humans here. Not your race, which has seres DNA, but it's not human per se. 2 arms, 2 legs, right?
Yeah.
How about the ears? What do they look like? You can see them.
Pointy ear.
Yeah, quite high. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But very beautiful creature, wouldn't you say?
uh,
How about how old do you think you are? You're female, right?
Sort of.
You can tell it's not quite the same as a human, but feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Thin nose, longer neck. What are you wearing?
At first, it's nothing, but now there is a blue gown.
It's got a Galactic Alliance symbol on the right chest. You just dropped off by one of your ships. You're not from a human planet per se, but you are from a world further away, down one of the spiral arms near the galactic core, very advanced race. And you are doing this on purpose, kind of like a meditative, scientific journey in that little dome. And you look at your hand, in your right hand, you pull up a triangular instrument with little lights on it. And you point it at the dome and around the environment, and you read it, and you know what it means. And you put it in a little pocket. Now you're walking towards that dome, right? What are you doing next?
Getting into the dome.
Yes. Okay, so you go up some steps or just an oval opening, and you'll find that as you approach it, you push something on this device, and the side of the dome turns into like a blue transparent energy field, and you walk right through it, and then it reseals. There's no open door. That's how you get into it. What do you see inside? What's inside? What do you see?
The dome is not huge,
No.
and there is a resting area on the right side.
And you feel like you're really there. But you're still sitting in that white leather chair too. You're experiencing it as if you're reliving it, but you also know you're perfectly safe. because this isn't happening to you again. This happened to you some time ago. You look around and you wonder. You're in the chair, you're hovering above it, and you wonder, how long ago did this take place? And then you have the answer. Because it cannot be kept from you here.
It's like 4,500 years.
Yeah. And you're the only one that's right. I have to concur. There was no war. This was a great lifetime. Do you have any idea how old that body is in compared to Earth terms that you're running in that life? 4,500 years ago.
Hmm. You mean my body?
Age. Yeah. How old
It's
is
like
that?
600 years old.
653 to be exact. You're right. And that you would have lived for, and in fact you did, well, you would have lived for thousands, but keep describing what's inside that dome.
I look up and I feel like I don't come here to have peace. I feel like I come to destroy something.
You wanted to destroy something? Is that natural for a Galactic Alliance citizen to destroy something?
I don't know, it feels strange.
Well, follow it through. Follow your own guidance. You are now safe to look at something that happened to you. It was terrifying. It can't happen
And
to you again. You're going to try to destroy something. What is it?
I look up and I see kind of a ship coming to have a shooting up.
Because you
But
can
what is
see, because the dome is transparent, right? You can see
yeah,
through
I
it.
see the ship is fighting
Now
and
what's
shooting
happening?
the
Keep
light
going.
ball.
Keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah, it is fighting and I was afraid.
Of course. Yeah.
It's shooting so hard.
But what's
Uh,
that got to do with you down on the ground?
I'm getting afraid that the dome cannot hold and it will break and
Or
kill me.
are they shooting at the dome, or are two ships shooting at each other?
The ship shooting at each other.
Okay, and then what happens?
Um,
Conclude that experience. Move it forward.
uh, I
Trust yourself.
try to protect myself and the ship is going down.
What ship? There's two ships fighting.
The
Which
two ships
ship?
fighting and
Was one a Galactic Alliance and one some other kind of ship? Are they the same ship fighting each other?
what I can see is they both black ship.
Okay, so they're quarreling over something.
Yeah,
I bet you I know what they're quarreling over. They think they've caught someone without Galactic Alliance protection on the ground. They're cowards. They sneak around places they shouldn't be to try to capture someone just to get revenge for having lost a war. That'll give you a heads up. So what do? What goes on from here?
one ship goes down
Okay,
and make the dome collapse
okay,
and I was in the dome
okay.
and
Didn't they want to take you away from there and somewhere
I
else to
don't know.
have? I don't think they just kill you and leave you. That isn't their game.
Mm,
This is hard to see, so let yourself see what happened.
I try to run away,
Okay, good.
but something grab me from the back,
Yep.
pull it inside the wrecking dome.
Okay.
I can't help myself.
Nope. Time of a beam, kind of like an energy beam.
Mhm.
Now, who's doing this to you? What do they look like?
Oh, some black, dark
Mm-hmm.
creatures.
That's because they're evil in nature, sadistic, vicious. They were treated far more terrorized growing up on their worlds than you ever were, because you never had that. So, what are they doing? Why do they care about you?
I was dragged into the rubble, the dark
Mm-hmm.
and very dark rubble.
It's dark because it's hard to see their features when it's terrorizing. So now the rubble lights up with the hue to show you in the screen. What is it you see now? Describe them. Describe yourself. What is happening? Remember, you are an Atma hovering above this body, even then.
There are few more black creatures.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they are taller than me.
Yep. Stronger, too.
Yeah. And they are planning to kill me.
Mm-hmm. For fun, for sport.
I just wondering what will they do to me and feel afraid.
Mm-hmm. Which is the whole point. They can't touch the Atma hovering above the body there. They do
Oh,
something else to that. But what do they do
they
to your
pull
body?
my left arm out.
Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah.
Um,
Not fun to look at this stuff. That's primary implant. You were killed there, weren't you? You were killed.
yeah, my head was bitten off.
Mm-hmm. So you're dead, but the Atma above, what do they do to that? They can't do anything to it. They can't kill it. It's not matter. So they
Yeah.
shoot it. They shoot it with weapons that put a red field of energy around. It's called a heavy gravitic field. And then they can put things in it and make it so you're not aware of it. Because they've already told you, if you remember, you're going to be tortured and killed and eaten again. This is a lie. It's just a brainwashing. And so they're going to take you somewhere from where they've killed your body. Because they just eat that. And, you know, they want to do something so that you can't tattle on them. You can't tell. So what do they do with you? So a red energy field around you, where do they take you? They're not going to stay on that planet. They want to get away before Galactic Alliance ship find them, because they would most certainly be destroyed. So where are they taking you 4,500 years ago? It's important to move the experience forward.
My body was left there.
What's left of it, yeah. Probably they
Yeah.
didn't leave much. Probably ate the whole thing. But what do they do to you, the real you?
My Atma is like trapped.
In a field of energy, yeah. Where do they take it? Not going to stay on that planet. Where do you find yourself next? Move forward in the time track. And where do they take you in secret? So no one will know. It's not hard to figure out.
I guess it's the earth.
Yeah, well, that's a good guess, because this is where you are now, running that body.
But it feels like it's not comfortable. It's like something cover all my Atma. It's like
Yeah, it's because around you you're
the
seeing,
shame.
right, you're seeing images of terror and torture and death, and don't look here, we'll kill you. It's just programs. They're just holograms, images. You didn't ask for these and you didn't want them. You didn't give them permission.
Yeah. I
So
feel my
4,500
asthma
years
was
ago, though, where did you end up on Earth? What country, what part of the world 4,500 years ago did you find yourself running a body? Run it forward. Continue the experience. The death part's done already. Now we're looking at how you got to be on Earth and how long ago.
I see like I was in a blue dress,
Mm-hmm.
long robe,
Yeah.
very beautiful
Yeah.
pattern on the dress.
Well, how old were you? About, you think?
Mm.
You just
Oh, it's like an old man.
you were an old man?
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. What does it look like? Be still. You're not threatened. You're safe. It's just a memory now. The worst part
Okay.
of that primary implant is conscious now. Now
Yeah,
we want to go forward a little bit and see what
I
happens.
was an old man with a very long beard.
Like a monk or something, like a
Oh,
guru.
yes, like a monk,
Okay, good.
blue dress with
Now,
a blue hat.
yeah. And where were you? What country? What part of the world were you? You can look around you. You can see other people, and you'll be able to tell where you are. Was this old man Asian, Caucasian, African American?
The skin is not yellow, not white,
Kind of dark,
dark,
brown,
not
kind of
black.
like, no, kind of like Semitic or Tibetan, India.
It is like brown.
What are your eyes like? You're an old man, healthy old man, I think. So
Yes,
you're saying that these beings stuffed you in an old man's body, pretty much of a joke, and kicked the being out that was there. And you're stuck in an old man's body, not knowing what to do, where you came from.
yes, I'm very confusing.
Ah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I look around. There are like poor people
What do they look like?
kneeling at me, and I
Ah,
like puzzle what happened.
oh, so like you were a guru of a type, a
Yeah,
teacher, and now you don't even know who you are.
yeah,
Pretty confusing, huh? Now, obviously, you should know this by now because it's in your awareness. A primary implant is designed to get you to compulsively reincarnate on a planet like a prisoner, life after life with no memory. And now you're who you are in Thailand, and you're waking up from all of this. This is good. This is good. And you're not afraid to see it because you're surrounded by masterful beings in an energy field that no negative nature can even approach us, not even come anywhere near where we are. The energy that's surrounding us here, and this image that you're seeing, and this life, these two lives you lived, is surrounded by the golden white light of the hue coming through Turelian's hands, through that pyramid of Satnam's chamber, below where you are. And so the omnipresent hue is aware of you here, and that your purpose is waking up to be a conscious, trustworthy co-creator with the source behind all life, which you're doing now. It's not in the future. It begins now. It moves through you by your conscious awareness for your benefit. And it moves onward to others for the benefit of others. You don't have to figure it out or think about it. You just have to know that's who you are. And it's your nature. It's your true nature. Especially when you're not being affected by subconscious negative garbage. These memories are now conscious. Not subconscious anymore. This is important because they're you. But they were a you that had a much more intelligent, higher IQ than you have now. Trained on different worlds, so that scientific part of you is still brilliant. And when you have these things come alive like this, you start bringing that wisdom and that understanding back to the body and life you have on earth now, because it didn't learn any of it growing up. You should be good with that, because I think you did a great job of seeing things. I can guide people at points along the rough part to get there, but you're the one who really sees it. It's your experience.
Now I can feel like the difference between Atma that has freedom and Atma that is in chain.
Yeah, because that's
Very
now
different.
the primary implant is no longer, you out of habit, you might still get afraid of the present or future at some point in Earth's atmosphere like it is. But when you do, you're going to find, probably today, tomorrow, the next few days, you're going to find that you can turn it off now. Just by looking at something beautiful or setting the hue into the feeling. And take your attention away from it. You don't have to review that life again. Keep reviewing it over. There's no mystery to it. You were caught and killed. Put on earth and trapped. Now you're waking up.
I want to add on this, and it is very important. Now, with people who watch these videos review primary implants, you start to see things. People who go to join with us, you start to see things that it's very difficult to see, because you got help from all master beings and you go on this journey in the ship. Okay, otherwise it's very difficult to see on your own. In this case, okay.
They can't see it on their own. The fear is, it's like, okay, you look at a primary implant. Secondary implant's this oval white sphere in a triangle in the energy field around the Atma. Those are gone. Primary implant is triangular shaped, like a pyramid with a quartz cap. Above the north end of that, up here, and below it, pointing downward. It's not in the Atma, but the field of energy it generates has you looking at things that are terrorizing, death. Don't look here or you'll get it again. That's a primary implant. So once you wake that up, those pyramids are still there. They're part of the subconscious mind. We don't remove them. I don't care what anybody on earth says. You cannot remove a primary implant from us. It's part of a field of energy that you've picked up over billions of years when you gradually lost higher faculties to co-create with Source and go back home. The long distance journeys are so that we can recover those higher faculties. Turn them on. Use them again. Start working with them. Because some of us didn't use those higher faculties for a billion years. It has to be recovered. They're not lost, destroyed, or gone. But they do have to be exercised. They have to be used. So you now, there will come a time when what's called the subconscious mind will be removed from people on earth. If it did it now, it would kill them. The body, can't take that out of there. It doesn't matter what anybody says. You can't remove it. There's no technology on earth or people aware enough to be able to have that removed. And when you remove it, it has to be replaced with something else. They swap them. So the subconscious mind is replaced with the hue expansion ray, which provides a wisdom from above the void to know how to master things so you can never be caught or be vulnerable again. It's one way. That's how the Hugh looks at you differently now. But you had the courage to go look at it. A lot of people aren't ready for that yet. So I commend you. I congratulate you. It's been my privilege to help you see this stuff. So the recording will be sent to you. Well, I mean, Pari will put it on her YouTube channel and you can go back and watch it again. A couple of days, relax. When you do the next time, do it with childlike wonder, not fear of anything. You already know what that was 4,500 years ago. And you lost a body. We all did. Don't feel alone. And now, you know what's in it. It cannot affect you the same way. It's conscious. It's not subconscious anymore, affecting your nervous system to turn away from truth. Run this way, run that way. Don't confront what it is because you'll be killed and eaten alive. Secondary implants are artificial kill and eat you alive stuff, not your real experience. Covering up beautiful, wondrous lifetimes that had no negative nature. Primary implant is when you were really killed and eaten and stuck on earth. Takes a little work to get up to that point. Now it's behind you. You've done it. You've really done it.
Okay, what you mean is that from now when we are afraid of something or have some fear, we just focus other things.
Yeah, like in Thailand, you're going to a restaurant, you're driving a car, you feel afraid, you're at night alone and you feel afraid. Don't just be the effect of it anymore out of a bad habit, because that bad habit is conscious now. At that point, we need to start mastering ourselves. We need to start controlling our own higher faculties the way we want them to go as part of our nature, not in negative areas, not adding, more fear to fear when it comes up, thinking of the future and now it's frightening, and you add to it out of a compulsive behavior, subconscious behavior. So when that subconscious behavior is conscious, it's not compulsive anymore unless you make it that way. You don't need to keep looking at the mystery of what happened to you to make sure it's there. You already did it. Now it's just a memory. Next time you review this journey, get a little notepad. Have fun with it. Right? Stop the recording. Go to lunch. I tell people this. Come back. Play with it with childlike wonder that you now know stuff you couldn't know before. And it's yours permanently. And then you start to relax. And then there's other steps that you can take. You can go into that life if you want to and go backwards before you went to that planet and see what happened for 600 some years. You can go forward into it, but you've already done that. You know where it ended.
You mean
go back to where we were, get back on the ship, get back in front of the 3 ships, turn them around, go the other way. See where it takes you.
Okay.
I want to put something on this. When you said, what do you do when you have fears? Before you know this word, okay, I think all people on earth the same. We don't even know that we are having fears, okay?
Right.
But once you go on the journey or have these awakened experiences, you can start feeling like this. Now you are having fears because you have this feeling, so you can put your focus away from fears. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
It's
you
kind of
never know you are
really-
having fears.
Yeah, it's like aware quickly that
Yeah.
in fear.
Yeah, mastery comes with how quickly you can turn away from negative things. Because you're conscious when they come up and go, I'm not falling for that. I'm going to look at a hummingbird. I'm going to look at a beautiful child's smile. I'm going to pet my dog or my cat, kiss my bird. I'm going to do anything that is only constructive because it will turn it off. The subconscious mind field gets its energy to run from you. Because you draw it from source, and then it gets misused, programming, implants, being killed, fear, it starts to get misused. We get into a bad habit, especially on Earth, because you're growing up in a society of people that are nuts. They're really
Yeah.
quite crazy. And they're living normal lives, right? But they're really not normal. They don't remember even anything that came before this life, and they think that's normal. It's not normal at all.
And then get back to what you've said that, okay, I can come back to that dome, and then the things may happen other way.
Go the other way and see where you came from.
Or where I'm came from, like
Yes.
before going to that dome.
Yeah, back to your home
Oh,
planet, back to the Galactic Alliance Council, back to a group of scientists. Look at all those 600 years that were beautiful.
okay.
There's a lot of wisdom there, and you can bring that to Earth and then bring it down through the body you have to make it enlightened, brighter, more intelligent.
Okay, understand.
Right? Yeah, that's what we're doing here. I know it takes a lot to get people to motivate to go on their own journeys, and it probably will for some time. My job is to help you see things you're too afraid to see for yourself until you can see them for yourself. And then my job will still be here to help you see other things you're afraid to see, not because of implants from reptilians or greys, because of other things that happened way back in Galactic Alliance history and up through the history of your lives in the other planes where you're running a body now. You have an astral body. You probably don't know what it looks like or what it's doing. Some people do, a few. You have a causal body, another dimension, a mental body, an etheric body. There's a void, separates the upper realities where no negative nature has ever existed, and the lower worlds of time and space, which are experimental. Now we got thrust into the experiment, and that experiment worked so well, good and evil, it trapped a good many of the atmas that make up Source. And because of that, it has not been able to change much, and now that's changing for the first time.
Having your own experience is very important, is the key. Because now on social media, you can hear many people talking, sharing the experiences, not from you, not even from themselves. They take from somewhere else and share the experience again. So you don't get anything from that. Your own experience is the key, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to thank you for having the courage to find yourself, at least this far, because this energy that moves through us, through Turellian, on these journeys, it moves through you. And it only works one way. It can't backfire. It can't reverse itself. It's only onward and upward. Through experiential awakening. That's how it works. Okay?
Thank you too. Thank you.
What a privilege and a pleasure. I'm so grateful you went on this.
ขอ
I
สา
will
ธารณะ
stop
ได้
the
นะคะ
ได้ค่ะ
I will stop the recording. Wish you onward and upward.